There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so let's get this ball rolling, all official like. Our next guest on Beyond a Doubt is a man who has taken a deep dive into a niche segment of consumer electronics, audio. He's been running his own YouTube channel since 2017, focusing on headphones, and audio speakers. He's been running his own YouTube channel since 2017, focusing on headphones, speakers, and audio gear. And that's not even his main job. He also works at VidIQ, helping other creators learn and grow their channels just like his. And today we're going to talk to him about all of that. Jeffrey Mendez, El Jefe Reviews. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. So this is Beyond a Doubt, and if you're not familiar, this is a segment where I get to talk to some of my friends that are around the space. Actually, you would be a great interview just for the normal podcast itself because you are an audio experte. But I just wanted to have you on for Beyond a Doubt. It's kind of like, and this is actually kind of related, but this is kind of like my version of Juan Bagnell's Creator Chat, which is, by the way, how I got introduced to you in the first place. So, so it was kind of a cool throwback, and you're a good guy, and we've chatted a little bit offline. So I figured let's get you online, and I brought the shades because you're all about the sunglasses. I don't know how long these are going to last, but but I'm going to keep them on for as long as I can. But the secret to my shades is they're bifocals. Nice. So they're reading glasses down here so I can actually read because I have eyes that are terrible because I'm old, you see. So, hey man, why don't we get started? Let's talk about you for a little bit because that's why you're here. You got started back in 2017. And you didn't originally start with audio gear. You were kind of like me, kind of like actually all over the place. I was just kind of wondering, like, how did you settle in on audio reviews the way you did?
Because it was basically like anything else. I was, started off the channel slowly, and I was reviewing just kind of tech in general, just the things that I was kind of ordering for myself and stuff that I had already, and just kind of kicking it off and getting started. The reason that it ended up going towards audio is as soon as I started reviewing headphones, adding the headphone reviews to what I was already reviewing, those tended to do much better than the other videos. And I believe it had, probably had something to do with the fact that I was more excited about it, or maybe there was higher popularity. But I did notice that they were always getting consistently higher views than the other videos. So after talking to some of the other YouTube creators that I was familiar with, they were kind of pointing me in the direction of like, hey, you know what? If that works better on your channel and you're already actually very passionate about that, then maybe you should lean into it. Maybe you should go for it, like 5-10 videos in a row, see where this goes. And
see what happens.
And then that changed the whole trajectory of the channel.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really cool. And I like analytics. I like data. So it speaks to me on a fundamental level that you let the data kind of show you where to show you the way, as it were. And that's fun. So how did sunglasses get into the picture? Was that just a thing, or I'm just curious because you are a sunglasses guy. So.
No, it's mostly to do with being light sensitive, especially with the lights required for the studio. So when I was first starting doing my videos on YouTube, I was just using like the light, like the light in the room, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of doing okay with that. But as soon as I got softbox lights that were like in my face to improve the lighting, it immediately, like after 5-10 minutes, just triggered my light sensitivity, started getting really bad headaches, really bad migraines every time I shot a video. And then, we're like, why don't I just put the shades on like I do when I go outside? Because I don't go outside without sunglasses, like not for anything, even to check the mail. So I just put them on. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. And it's got its good side and its bad side because it keeps me from getting headaches. The bad side is that I get so many hate comments about it. But it is what it is. Like, I really don't care at this point.
I ain't hating on you. That's awesome.
No, absolutely.
It's part of your brand. It's in your logo, for God's sakes. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
And
at this point,
you got
into it.
Yeah, and you got the I can't point in the right direction. But you've got the emoji with the sunglasses on it. That's a nice touch. I like that. So you are clearly a StreamYard professional. So, which is pretty cool. Which is cool. I'm just getting into it myself. So I use StreamYard mainly for these Beyond a Doubts, just because it's super convenient just to post it straight over to the YouTubes. So anyway, we were talking off air, and this show Beyond a Doubt is not necessarily about the tech. It's also about the people. And you mentioned that you had just gotten your second COVID vaccination, and you weren't feeling all that great about it. Now, I got my second shot last week, as I mentioned, and I did a whole Twitter thread about like post-shot symptoms and that I was experiencing. And honestly, after 2 days, like my final update on that thread was, well, this whole thread turned into a big old nothing burger, because like I had a sore arm, but that was about it. So, but you not so much. You said you had some side effects there. What happened?
Yeah, no. So just to clarify, I just got the first one. I haven't gotten the second one yet.
Oh, this is the first shot. Okay.
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah, and so I immediately got the arm soreness, and but ever since I got it, it's been like 2.5 days worth of a headache and really tired and stuff. So it's been one of those things where it isn't super bad or anything like that. Tylenol's been helping me just kind of keep it at bay. But it's getting lighter, so it's getting a little bit better. So I would say, if anything, in the grand scheme of things, my side effects have been light. So
okay. And it's important, and someone actually pointed this out to me, like on my thread, was like, it's important to not only talk about like the really horrible side effects, but also the people that it's not so bad, like, because that kind of sends a message of hope, I guess if you will, to the folks that are looking down the barrel of an impending vaccination. So, but are you a Team Moderna or Team Pfizer, or?
Oh yeah, actually they had stopped. Well, they were doing Johnson, but then they stopped, and then they switched us over. So when I actually arrived there, I was assuming I was going to get the Johnson & Johnson one. I actually got there, they were like, "No, we're doing Pfizer." I'm like, "Oh, all right, I guess I got to come back." So they immediately, as soon as I got there, they were scheduling my second shot, and then I went in and got this one. So
all right, Team Pfizer all the way. I like it. So oh crap! Hang on a second. Yes. Nope. This would have been a question to ask half an hour ago. Well, that'll go on the cutting room floor, but that'll be preserved in perpetuity on YouTube. So that's
got to clip that.
That's great. Yeah. Oh, can you do that? I don't even know. Like,
they're rolling out that feature. We've seen it pop up on one of YouTube's own channels.
Oh,
so
okay.
They are rolling out that feature at some point. Yeah.
And you know what? This is actually a pretty decent way to kind of transition over to your day job, because you are was it customer like growth manager or something like that for VidIQ? Tell me about that if you could.
Yeah, so it's a customer success manager, which is kind of a strange title, but it makes sense, because that's basically what I do there. Like, I was hired by VidIQ as a content creator, and my job is to talk to other content creators directly, our customers, on how to best take advantage of our tools, to show them how I use them myself to help grow my channel. So essentially that's what it is. So we talk, amongst each other. I participate in the live streams as well. We're even working with our creator partners, like on Clubhouse. And so we're working around different teams on how to really, help creators in any way we can, help the creator community, in any way we can. And thankfully I'm working for a great company. It's a dream job for me, because everybody's super cool, and it's so creator focused that I couldn't imagine. Like, I couldn't imagine working anywhere else now. But it's funny, because 4 years ago I could have never pictured myself working for this company. So
sure. But I mean, so what does VidIQ do? Like, what is VidIQ's spiel? Like, why should I sign up for VidIQ? I guess is my question.
Well, basically, so they're YouTube tools, right? So there's a lot of different YouTube tools and extensions out there that are available. It's VidIQ. You've got TubeBuddy out there. There's Morning Fame. There's probably a few others that I'm forgetting about. So there's different tools that can help you, and it's more about optimizing. And especially as a channel is starting out, you want to learn, you want something that's going to help you kind of make things easier for you. If it's, SEO, search engine optimization, finding keywords that are, ranking in search, because obviously you want to make videos about topics that people actually actually want to watch. You
Sure.
don't want to make videos about things that nobody cares about. So
Right.
that's stuff that, that we can sort of help you with. And we have other tools that kind of lean into that as well. Tracking competitors, I think one of the bigger ones that I really enjoy using is we have a tool to compare thumbnails. So that's one of the ones that I really appreciate. And then just recently we released a tool called Daily Video Ideas. So for creators who are having trouble with coming up with ideas for their videos, it's like a AI machine learning program that looks at your channel, looks at what's working on YouTube, and will give you every single day, will give you fresh ideas for videos based on your own content and what's working in like that space. So if it's like tech, it's going to give you tech ideas. If it's beauty and makeup, it's going to give you beauty and makeup ideas. So it's pretty sweet. So nice. I'm actually really enjoying it.
So in other words, VidIQ will look at my channel and say, this guy El Jefe reviews, he wears sunglasses in all his videos. Maybe you should do that. And I'm thinking, that's not such a bad idea now that you mention it, because I got to be honest with you, I look pretty awesome right now. So,
hey, yeah. That's the benefit. That's what I tell people is like, I wear the glasses for two reasons. One of them is to protect myself from migraine headaches, and, looking cool is a good side effect. So, that's right.
And the other one makes you jealous. So, oh man, I love it. I love it. So, okay, that's pretty cool. So, how did you get hooked up with them? Did they like recruit you? Did they see like you're doing a great job on the channel? So why don't you teach other people how to do great jobs on their channels, or
so
fill out an application? How did that work out?
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. One of the ways that really helped was, I met the team. So being that I'm a creator, I'm a part of the community, and I want to grow, and I'm a geek about the analytics and all that stuff. So, I would attend the conferences, like Vid Summit and things of that nature. And I got to meet the team there, but also one of my friends who I met through doing YouTube is Travis MCP. And he was already employed by them for a good while. So when it came time for him to expand his particular team within the company, that's when he, had approached me and was like, hey, is this something you would be interested in applying for? And I was, it was a major leap because I was in a completely different career path professionally. And then I was like, wow, this is kind of wild. So, but I said, what, with no risk, no reward, and growth really happens when you leave your comfort zone. And I was like, what, let's see kind of where this goes. And we went through the interviews and stuff, and it all worked out. So and it's like I said, it's a dream job for me because now I get to work from home permanently, and I get to help creators grow their channels. So
yeah. And speaking of channel growth, you just crossed a 50,000 milestone. So congratulations on that.
Thanks,
that's pretty great. And I'm just just browsing through your channel, you've got 50,000 views here. You've got a couple of videos that are like over like hundreds of thousands of views. So I mean, you are clearly doing some things right over on the YouTube space, which I am very much not, and I understand that. So you see, for me, YouTube is kind of like a secondary to the podcast. This conversation that we're having right now is going to go out onto YouTube because everybody needs to see how awesome I look in these sunglasses. Right. But no, there's going to be an audio version as well that I'm going to release to the podcast feed because the podcast is kind of like my focus, and YouTube just allows me to bring a visual element to an audio medium. And so that's awesome. But when it comes to a channel like yours, what's your publish rate? Are you weekly over on your channel there, or what? Do you have a set schedule where you do every X number of days, or how does that work out for you?
At this point, it's for most of the time or most of the career on YouTube, it's been weekly. If not, if I get lucky, sometimes twice per week, but mostly it's once a week. That's what I've held myself to. That was kind of like a promise I'd made myself when I first started, was because some of the videos that I was watching at the time were like Nick Nimon's videos and Think Media, Sean Cannell's videos, where they would talk about consistency. And one of the videos, I forgot who exactly had said it, but they were like, hey, if you're going to get started, make yourself a promise, make a commitment to get a video out there, at least one video per week. Choose a day, choose a time. And sometimes you may not get it up by that time, but at least get it out on that day every week. But it was to establish a habit, and they would all teach you consistency, but also it taught me so much more. It taught me how to manage my time around the channel, how to make sure that I got content done, how to plan, when to shoot, how to edit, how to do it all in an amount of time that worked for my life.
Yeah.
And that building that habit for the year, it helped me grow to that first 1,000 subscribers. But it taught me so much because of experimentation, week after week after week. Okay, I'm trying something new. I'm trying something different, and just consistently staying with it. It helped me greatly. And sometimes I don't do it. Like in the past year, it's been tougher with health problems, with family issues, where I haven't been able to sometimes get videos out that week. But I found other ways. Like I've made sure I'm still doing my weekly live stream on Sundays to keep my audience engaged. So I found ways kind of around it, but doing my best to get back on track. And I think right now I think I'm about 4 or 5 weeks back on track if I remember correctly. So getting back in. Yeah.
And if nothing else, a weekly live stream, that counts as a video, guys. I'm just saying, here's a video. You wanted a video. Yeah, I kind of set that same goal for me. Like I do a weekly podcast, and so I wanted to have like a weekly video to go along with it. And I kind of shoot for the same neighborhood, like as far as like published time is concerned. Like I'm really solid on the podcast. I've never missed a deadline, although a couple weeks ago I came within 5 minutes of missing a deadline. Like I pushed the publish button, I had 5 minutes left. Like normally it's a day or two, but anyway, yeah. So, but when it comes to YouTube, I'm a little bit less strict about it. In fact, there have been, I've only had the channel since like October, and I can think of already like 3 or 4 times that I've just missed a week just because either life got in the way and like, it was funny because just recently, and Juan Bagnell comes to mind when I talk about this. Just recently, I actually missed 2 weeks, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is the part where Juan would talk about how I would go on and say, "Hey guys, sorry I haven't done a video in a couple of weeks," because he always talks about that situation where you've got a YouTube channel where there's like really good content for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then there's nothing, and then there's one video that says, "Hey," or one other video, and then another couple of weeks go by, and then like, "Hey, sorry I haven't been doing a video," and blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm like that guy. I was thinking to myself, I'm that guy, and I can't do that. So, but I think I'm back on track now. I think my concern is just the sustainability of creation, and that's actually something that we can talk about because, like you, I have a day job as well. So this, I'm not going to pretend to know your financial situation, but I can tell you my podcast does not pay for my house. Right. So my podcast is at best beer money. I'm in the black, but just a little. So I've got, a day job that I'm working on to, actually pay the bills so I can keep doing this in my spare time. So, and I would imagine you have kind of a similar situation there. So like, how does that work with the day job and with maintaining the channel content on the side? Like how do you make that work?
Well, it's actually a bit easier now with this particular job. It was a different situation when I was working at my previous job, where time management was much more critical before, because the previous job I had to commute. I had a really long commute, 90 minutes each way minimum. So God. I was gone usually like 7 in the morning to like 7 at night, or 6 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And so then I would only have a few hours in the evening to like spend with my family, eat dinner, and then I would start working on videos. Yeah. So that's where I started compartmentalizing how I do my production. And I still do it this way now, even now, but now it's a little bit easier because my work for VidIQ is not like, it doesn't take my entire day. So it's kind of like at a certain time, at a certain time, at a certain time. So it's basically like, 4, 5, 6 calls during the day, but there's gaps in between where I can edit for half an hour, or I can work on the script for half an hour. And then in the evenings, then I'll, knock out 2 hours of either finishing up the edit or shooting the thumbnails or B-roll shots. So, but I still spread it out. And that's what's helped me make sure I get these videos done, because like, let's say I try to get videos out Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But if it comes to like, I get to Friday and I haven't even shot the talking head portion, then I'm like in a crunch, and now I got to do everything in the next like 48 hours. And that really sucks. So now what I try to do is make sure by Sunday or Monday night at the latest have, the quote unquote script ready to go. That way I can record that either Monday night or Tuesday night. And then I spend Wednesday and Thursday editing and getting all my shots. And then I can get it all put together by Friday and hopefully release Saturday morning. So I'm basically kind of breaking up the work so that it's not tying up, every single day of my life.
Oh yeah. So I hear that. So I've actually recently adopted. So like a big part of my podcast is doing like the news. Like I'll go over like news stories from the week. And it used to be when I was freelancing, I could kind of dedicate my Fridays to just like being a script edit podcast day, but like, with my work situation changed actually, where I'm going to be doing like a little bit more full time actually as of next month. So this month I've been practicing and like getting myself into the habit of writing the news every night so that I don't have this like gigantic block of thing to do on Friday. And so yeah, so it sounds like we have very similar workflows. I like the fact that you can multitask from the the day job, and you can sneak in a little bit here and a little bit there of your YouTube channel. So do you ever envision a time when YouTube might pay the bills and might actually become your full-time job? Is that a goal of yours? I mean, is that something that you're striving towards, or is this just more of a fun thing to do on the in between calls on your day job?
Yeah, so, no. I mean, for the longest time it was, especially when I was working the previous job. And it's not that I liked my previous work. I did not like my commute. That was that was what was crushing my soul. And that was one of the things where I'm like, I got to get out of this. And that was the goal at the time. Now, I mean, I still haven't met the goal. There's a monetary goal. There has to be an average amount. And if I'm not hitting that average amount for 12 months, there's no way I could quit my job. But here's the thing though. Even if I get to that goal now, doing that now, I'm doing a completely different job that I absolutely enjoy. I have no incentive to quit, but I still have the incentive to try. I'm still trying to reach that goal to where it's enough to where it could potentially be like a real solid dual income kind of a situation. Oh yeah. So at some point it absolutely could be where I wouldn't have to do a full-time job, where I could just do YouTube full-time. That's definitely something that can happen. The trajectory that I'm going, the type of content that I make, it lends itself to affiliate marketing. It lends itself to being something very lucrative. So it's something that's entirely possible. But right now, I think I'm more on a trajectory of trying to make sure that I'm more financially stable and having the dual income for me, because also benefits. Benefits are a huge thing, and we have a
benefits are huge.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right now, all of our Canadian listeners are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, God bless America. Anyway, right. I just do what I did: marry the benefits. Hey. But anyway, so
I was that person. I'm the person that they marry for that.
Oh, gotcha. Love you, honey. Anyway, so let me let's go ahead and transition now over into audio, since that's kind of your deal. We've touched on it a little bit, but the one question that I want to ask you, and I want to make sure that I ask this before we run out of time, but how many earbuds do you own right now?
Yes.
Because it's like just the other day actually. I've got this kind of dual phone wielding thing going on, because I have an extra SIM, and I'm never just looking at one phone at any given time. Right. So like the other day, I had just moved into the OnePlus 9 Pro, and I was getting ready for a bike ride. And the other phone that I have is the Galaxy Fold, which I would never take on a bike ride. Let's be clear about that. I've never taken that phone on a bike ride. So like I was grabbing the OnePlus 9, and I was like running around the house looking for like an extra pair of earbuds. I know I have like 10 of them because I've reviewed them all, but like I just couldn't for the life of me find them. And so like somebody who does audio exclusively, I can only imagine like the stacks or the boxes full of earbuds that you must have. So, but I also know from my time with Sound Guys, like some audio companies are very stringent on review devices. Like they'll give you a specific amount of time and say, we need these back. And for good reason, because sometimes the headphones you're looking at are $1,000 or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I was just curious, like how many earbuds you actually do own, because those companies typically don't ask for them back, at least in my experience.
Yeah, no, it's cost them too much to send call tags for that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
But if I had to take a guess, I would have to say,
guess
it's got to be. I mean, for Bluetooth earbuds, it's got to be well over 100. It's got to be, but I've lost count at this point.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. And that's just Bluetooth earbuds. We're not even talking about headphones, and both wired and the wireless variety, and then in-ear monitors. So it's much deeper. Like when I tell people that, they're like, what? You don't even show this stuff on your channel. And I'm like, my audio hobby as a hobby for myself is much deeper than what the channel shows.
Wow.
Because of the fact that I have to weigh out what goes onto the channel because of the amount of production time and whether or not it's something that's actually going to do well on the channel. Because if I just reviewed everything, you'll see a lot of channels that just review everything, and you'll see that like out of 10 videos, only one of them pops. And I have to be a little more strategic to make sure that I'm following up success upon success. So
and it's interesting because you and I are definitely in different places, because like I can put whatever I want onto my channel, and it doesn't really matter. Like, and it's funny because like I did one laptop unboxing from back in December, and it's actually the main laptop that I'm using right now. It's an MSI GL75 Leopard, and like that video just fire, and like everything. It's like, and I look at my channel statistics, and I keep pointing to co-producer Cliff, and I say one of these things is not like the others, and so it's like that video just week after week after week, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of views. I mean, what is that even up to now? I'm gonna look.
Anytime we see something like that, like if I was talking to a coaching client and I saw that in their analytics, then the first thing I would say would be like, and how come you haven't made any follow-up videos?
Yeah,
like, especially long term. If it's something that you're using, then it's something like, hey, here's 3 months later, 6 months later, or deeper dives into like my tips and tricks, or whatever it might be. And
I'm going to tell you exactly why I haven't done a follow-up on that. And that is because, hey, I got another subscriber at some point. That's fun. No, the reason I have not done a follow-up on that, where's the content tab? God, I can never remember that. The reason I haven't done a follow-up on that is because of the production that would have to go into it. And like YouTube is a very low-effort thing for me. So, I'm just going to read some numbers here to you. 121, 483, 344, 8,412.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. I had the same thing happen to me back in the day when I was, I think I must have been around 200 or 300 subscribers. And it was my first video that quote unquote popped. And where I was struggling to get 10, 20, 30 views on a video. And then this video gets 150 views in the first day. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening here? It was an earbud video. And after a week, it had 1,000 views. And then after 2 weeks, it was at 3,000. And it just kept going. And I'm like, what the heck? So, but it was, it was a product that I just released. It was an audio product. I was super excited about it in the video. And I was doing funny stuff in the video. So it worked out really well. So, and then I was like, you know what, maybe... Well, people kept asking me in the comment section, like, how is this versus the previous model? I'm like, I don't know. Let me buy the previous model and tell you. So then I made a versus video. Then that one took off even bigger. And that's kind of where that sort of started going. Yeah.
Yeah, I should do a follow-up video on this laptop. I just don't know what form that would take. But that's probably a production meeting that we don't need to have right now.
If anything, it would just be talking about. I would just talk about it. Like, here's been my experience with it, because people love that. Like, people love knowing something down the road. Like, because you'll see a lot of this in tech, and you'll hear a lot of people talk about this in tech, about how people will just grab a product, do that first day review unboxing thing, and they just move away, and then they go to the next product, but consumers really value. No, I mean, it happens. And but consumers do really value that long-term perspective. So
yeah, and what I've been doing actually is I've been doing the unboxings on the YouTube channel, and then I'll follow it up with a full review on the podcast. And I think maybe that's where the disconnect is maybe, but I was actually kind of hoping that I might actually drive stuff over to the main platform, but hasn't worked out that way. Go figure. But so let me ask you this. I know that audio is a very personal thing, like, and I've heard you talk on a number of different places that audio is just such a personal thing that, like, people will ask you, what's the best of headphones? And you're like, I don't, there's really no good answer to that. So what I wanted to ask you was, what are some tips or tricks that you could share about finding the right set of cans for a given person?
So mostly it comes down to what the use case is. So because and then we can iterate further once we figure that out, because for some people, especially in the past year, they'll approach me because they need something for like Zoom calls and for work. And that's a completely different product versus somebody who hits me up and is like, hey man, I want something to, play games and watch movies on my computer. That's a whole different product. Or, I want something that can cancel out the noise on the train when I'm on my commute to work and I'm watching videos on my phone. Completely different product. So it's one of those things where I'll usually ask people the use case. And then from there, we'll go into we'll dive a little bit deeper, hey, okay, so you're watching movies, or, oh, I just want these for music. Okay, cool. Then what kind of music are you listening to? And then that'll kind of help me decide, okay, this might be a better option for them. If they like classical music and they're more into instruments and singers, then I might lean one way. Or if they're really big into hip hop and trap and a lot of bass, then I'll send them a different direction. So it's much more personal, and I don't mind helping people do that. At all. When they'll ask me, people do this on Twitter. Like, there was a guy maybe an hour ago who just I'd never even seen this guy before. And he just at El Jefe Reviews, hey, what's the best earbud under $50? And I was like, so then I started asking kind of a little bit more follow-up questions, like, hey, why this style, and kind of going from there. And then I gave him a recommendation, but that's just how it works. And I don't mind doing it, but it is personal. And we do need to, I don't want people to just automatically think, because you'll see a lot of people doing this, where somebody say, hey man, I just want the best headphone, the best Bluetooth headphone out there. And they just kick them out. Sony, here you go. It's a Sony's. It's like, dude, it isn't just because a lot of people say it's the best. That doesn't mean it's the best for that particular person. So you really got to take responsibility and ask a couple of follow-up questions. But that's also why a lot of my YouTube friends just send people to me.
Well, what I can tell them is the best set of earbuds is clearly the T7s, baby.
You got to love the name.
I love Wishes. It's WSHDZ, and all right. But I'll tell you the reason I bought these. Like I said before, I need a new set of earbuds. Like, I need a hole in the head. But I saw these. I was actually doing a best earbuds under $50 list for LifeWire, and I these came up in my research. And the reason I bought these is, do you see that on the back? That's a USB Type A plug. That's wild. You know why that's there? So you can charge your phone off of the earbuds case. Nice. It's a 1,200 milliamp hour battery on the back here that you can charge your phone off of, and it just seems so ridiculous. I had to try it. Yeah. So I'll be unboxing these on the channel later, by the way. Nice. But yeah, so that was fun. So let me ask you this: what's the one thing about headphones or audio gear, or you can give me a top 3 if you want? What's the one thing about headphones or audio gear that you wish everybody knew? Probably the main thing would be that sound quality is like flavors, that there's different flavors of it. This is why I'll tell people that there isn't a subjective best for me or for you, although there are people who completely disagree with me, and I've got into arguments about it. But I'll tell people that there's different flavors of it, and I like different flavors of it, just like ice cream. I'm not just a one flavor guy. So it depends on what I'm doing, what I'm listening to. Sometimes I want a more flat sound, something more balanced. Or if I want to monitor audio, then I want something completely reference and very neutral. Or if I'm watching movies, then I want something that's going to have big bass response, so when those explosions kick in. So that's usually what I'll tell people is I wish more people knew the fact that there isn't just sound, that there's actually much more nuance to that sound,
and it can really improve the experience based on exactly what it is that you're going to listen to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what are some of the best questions that you've been asked about audio gear, either by a fan or a commenter, or like on one of your videos? Like, what are some of the questions that really stick out in your mind as like, wow, that was really good?
Usually it's usually where they get me is when they're asking like comparison questions, which I really like sometimes, because what they'll do is, let's say, like just recently, because it's recency bias, I named a new champion for under $50. And in that video I had mentioned how I was going to pit them up against some of the top earbuds in the industry regardless of price. Because that's how strong I feel, how confident I feel about their sound quality, how impressed I am. And that's when people started asking me very specific questions. And they were just like, hey, can you tell me what are the, how are these compared to like Sony, or how are these compared to these in-ear monitors, or how are these compared to like these over-ear headphones? I'm like, whoa, like this is some interesting stuff that I normally don't like to do. Like, I don't like comparing earbuds to headphones. I like keeping the comparisons at least somewhat similar.
Oh yeah,
But
right.
that was those are some of the better ones that I've been asked, because they want to know like, hey, can this $50 earbud really compete sound quality for sound quality up against the top dogs in the industry right now, like Sennheiser or Bose or Sony, whoever. Yeah.
Nice. So do you think that this Yamaha motorcycle is better, or this Toyota Prius? Which do you think is better? So,
I get a lot of that.
I bet. So, okay. So when it comes to you, like, because this show's about you, so let's talk about you. What are your go-to headphones? Like, and I know you mentioned several times that you have like different headphones for different jobs, but like, let's say you're, okay, I guess I'm gonna dip back into Juan Bagnell's page here and say your house is on fire, your family is safe, all your personal effects are safe. Which headphones are you grabbing as you run out the door?
Oh, most likely it's gonna probably end up being if I'm just gonna grab them as I run out, probably gonna end up being those AirPods Max.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're digging those, huh?
Yeah, no, for sure. I know a lot of people had trouble with them. They're not perfect. They're definitely a first time device for sure. But
Gen 1 hardware for the win.
Yeah, right. No, it's one of those things where it assuming that I have my phone with me, it's just going to be one of those things. I have my iPhone, on top of everything else that I have. Most likely that would be the one that I would grab. Just as if I was running out, that would probably be the one.
Okay. Yeah. Right, well, that's legit. That's legit. So, okay. I had a follow-up question to that, and I have no idea where it went. It just flew right out of my head. So, who is on your Mount Rushmore of sound companies? Like, and let's talk about headphones first, but then I just want to get into like general audio and like, sure. So let's talk about your Mount Rushmore of headphone companies. Like, when you get a press release from XYZ company, which one really perks up your ears? And no pun intended. Which one? Which one of those is like, oh, I got to hear what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, there's a few. Focal is one of them.
Okay.
So Focal is one of them. Usually when Sennheiser has a new product release, that definitely gets my attention. Bowers and Wilkins, that's another one. And then there's another one that usually comes to mind. When was it? It was recent. Usually when it comes up like this, normally it's One More. So even though they're not such a hugely widely known brand, but what they bring to the table is usually really exceptional. And I'm a big fan of their engineer who does their tuning.
Nice.
It's like the way he tunes stuff is exactly like, if I knew how to do that, that's what I would tune stuff to. So nice. Nice. Whenever they say they're going to come out with something new, I'm like emailing my PR guy and I'm like, hey, what's the deal, man? So when are we shipping those out?
Man, I haven't had the opportunity to review a One More device in a long time. I'm a big fan of theirs. And like the first time I reviewed some of their stuff, they sent me like, I was with Pocket Now at the time, and they sent me like four different sets of. There was a set of over ears, and then like three sets of earbuds, and like each one of them had such a unique and remarkable unboxing experience. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
packaging. The packaging was like so next level, and I'm trying to remember if I've done anything of theirs since then. But like, is their packaging still that good? Like, because like I remember they had like magnetic catches on the boxes and like velvet lined interiors, and like there were
Yeah.
designs all over the place. Oh, it was
It's usually
amazing.
they reserve that for more of their top tier products.
Okay.
But even I mean even the ones that are like their lower end stuff still have a better
Hmm.
unboxing experience than half of the industry. But they usually reserve it for like their stuff that's usually like, I don't know if it's a price, but normally it's like 100, maybe like 80 or higher.
Okay.
But a lot of the products still come in like that. Like when they brought out the neckband last year, the noise canceling dual driver neckband, it came
Mm,
with the full experience. Like you opened it up like a
nice.
book, and it had all the different adapters and a huge variety of tips and all the artwork, and like all it was exactly what you were describing, like with their wired products, the stuff that they used to do with the black boxes and the whole thing. They gave you that experience with it. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice, nice. I gotta get a hold of one more again. I don't know who's. No, never mind. I was gonna say who's working with them these days, but that's probably not something that we want to talk about on the air. So
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine. So, all right. So we talked about headphones, but like just sound companies in general, because you do more than just headphones and earbuds. You do, speakers and Bluetooth speakers and whatnot. So, like, who are some of your favorite companies like outside the realm of headphones, but still in the audio space?
So one of the big ones would be somebody like Shure. I
Okay.
mean, I got the mic here, but I was always liking them back in the days from their older headphones, and then my brother used to use their needles for a lot of his DJ work.
Oh,
So
nice.
I don't think they're in that space anymore, but it was just one of those companies that I was like big on from when we were kids. The other one recently is for speakers is Mica, Micca, and
Mm,
they have some excellent speakers. I use their bookshelf speakers on for my TV. So instead of like a sound bar, or I don't have like a home theater system, but I have their speaker set up with an amplifier, and it is exceptional. So
nice.
really like that. One of the ones that I experienced recently, but I haven't had a chance to check out their products well, not review them in person. I had a chance to listen to them when I was at CES. Was a company
Mm.
called SVS, and they do these like massive home theater subwoofers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that stuff was truly impressive. So, but yeah, I mean, those are some of the ones that like, that I really like. Some good stuff out there.
One of these days, I would like to build a home audio system, but
Oh
like,
yeah,
let's be honest. I just got a working TV last Christmas, so like we went like several years in my house without a decent TV, just because we all watch stuff on our devices. Like
yeah.
it was like foreign to me to like turn on this big screen and like. So anyway, yeah. So one of these days, I would like to build a home theater type sound setup, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're not there yet, but okay. All right, cool. So let me see here. So when we talked about when you were on Creator Chat, you talked about how the how audio is very much a right tool for the right job type of experience. So when you're doing like editing and when you're doing like sound editing and stuff like that, you said you like to have a really flat a sound stage. Like what's your go-to headphones for doing audio work? And I mainly ask for selfish reasons because obviously that's my biggest use case is audio
Yeah.
editing. So I'm just kind of curious as to where you are with that.
Two different options. So normally when I'm editing my audio, just because I'm so used to it from using it now for the past 2 years, are
Mm-hmm.
my Sennheiser HD6XX, or theoretically they're very similar to the HD 650. So
Okay.
I'm very accustomed to using those. But if I want something, they're not fully neutral. They're very relaxed, and they have really good vocal range for them. They're very mid range focused. But if I want something that is extremely neutral, extremely flat, $40. There's a company called Moondrop, and they make these in-ear monitors called SSR, and that's the name of the product. It's Moondrop SSR, and $40. They look like nothing when you look at them. You're like, what? What is this little thing? But they are so neutral, so flat. They are pure for monitoring. So exactly what your source is giving you, that is what you're hearing. So usually when I want to make sure, like really, like if I'm not getting a good dial on my audio, like I'm like, this is just not working. Like I'll scrap the audio file and then I'll go in, I'll plug in those SSRs and then I'll really listen and fine tune with those. It comes out much better. For me, listening to music with those is really not like, I'll use those to like test an amplifier to see if there's any correlation. But aside from that, they're really good for work. But for like enjoying, unless you enjoy that kind of sound, for me, that's not me. But for monitoring, they're excellent for that. And they're only $40.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like you said that, and I like instantly wrote down the name, and I guess I'm going to have an Amazon package coming to me in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
But link in the show notes, everybody. By the way,
right.
But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Because and I know, like, see, I use these Audio Technicas, and what I really like about the Audio Technicas is the really subtle branding that they have.
Right.
So. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get actually a nice set of ear monitors would actually be really good for like when I have to edit on the go.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're an iPhone family, Apple family, I guess there. So how have you handled the transition from like, obviously the AirPods Max Pro, whatever the frick they're called, but like what other headphones have you been using with your iPhone there? Like, what are you feeling when it comes to like, just kicking back, listen to a podcast or something like, benefit of the doubt.
Well, to be fair, I actually use both. Like I have, just like you, I'm dual SIM, so I have a S21 Plus.
Nice.
As well.
Okay.
Or normally I have a Pixel, like I have a Pixel 5 as well. So normally right now I'm doing the dual wield with the iPhone 12 Pro and the S21 Plus.
Okay.
So just to be fair, but normally the other headphones that I would use with the iPhone, it's going to be the AirPods Max or the AirPods Pro if I want to use earbuds. Aside from that. Sometimes I'll use the Sony's with the iPhone, but normally, like if I'm going to listen to like my audiobooks or if I'm going to listen to music, I normally don't do that with the iPhone. I'll test when I test stuff on both platforms. I'll test with the iPhone, but normally for content consumption, I'm usually doing that on the S21 or like on my LG V40 with the quad DAC. I'll do it on that side. Yeah.
I was gonna say you just named like 4 different phones, none of which have a headphone jack. So like you're still kind of proving my point there. But then you brought up the LG V40. So
I have to keep the V40 is a mainstay. I keep FLAC files locally stored on it, but it also has like my Amazon Music HD. So if I want to, that's usually what I'll use that to like test out in-ear monitors, to test out anything that's wired. Just to get kind of like a base reference on it, and it's so good, and you can get that phone for so cheap. So it's crazy.
Link in the show notes.
Yeah, it's like I picked it up. It was technically speaking used. It was on Amazon renewed, but it was like $175, and it arrived in immaculate condition, like not a nick or scratch on it. So
wow. You know what? Now I'm kind of curious. LG V40, Amazon. Let's see what they got there.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
$199. That's not bad.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, I've got the V50 here, and actually
that's a great device.
It is. I got the Korean variant because they wanted to send me the one with the dual screen case. So I've got pogo pins on the back, but I also have this persistent clock from Korea on the home screen that I can't get rid of. Like there's a widget that I can't change the clock widget, and it's funny because I've done it once before, but then I gave that phone to my wife, and after I wiped it, that clock came back, and I can't figure out how to get rid of it again. But yeah, so yeah, $200 on Amazon is a renewed, and actually there's a renewed one for $177. So link in the show notes. So you should go check that out. Cool. Well, we can start wrapping this up. I really appreciate you accommodating my schedule today because it was just a day, man,
No, I trust me, I know, man. I know how it goes. So
Yeah. So we were just, I had just sat down to start cooking dinner when I realized it was 7 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, I'm never going to get this done by 8. So, but yeah, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on and being a guest here on Beyond the Doud. So now it's time to go ahead and roll out the red carpet for you, and you can tell everybody where people can find you on the internets and on the YouTubes and on the Twitters and all that fun stuff. So go ahead and pimp your stuff there.
Sure. I mean, it's all basically going to be the same. So it's El Jefe Reviews on all the platforms. So wherever you might be looking for me. So yeah, YouTube, El Jefe Reviews, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of them, El Jefe Reviews. I mainly just hang out on YouTube and Twitter for the most part. But that's mostly where you can find me. But I've been doing a little more Instagram, hanging out with people there and stuff as well. So trying to reach out to people. But aside from that, it's pretty much it. You might even see me on Clubhouse. I usually join in there for people that are on there, or even Twitter Spaces. I've been starting some of my own this past couple of weeks, have conversations with people live. So I prefer, I like, Twitter Spaces is good. They just need to work on it. It's still kind of buggy. But I like the fact that it's open to pretty much anybody on any phone. So it allows a much wider audience to come in. So I do like that conversation. It's actually a much more lively conversation.
Not those elitist Clubhouse people.
That's right.
So, I got a Clubhouse account just long enough for me to register my name in Clubhouse, and I haven't been back since. So what am I missing over there? What's the deal with Clubhouse? Give me your elevator pitch on why people should be on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, as it were.
Well, I guess it depends on what you're there for, because who you follow there will really determine how good or bad your experience is. But for me, it's mostly about the YouTube education space, or the creative education space, or like affiliate marketing. So I follow specific people for that kind of those kind of talks. So whenever they're live, like when I sign in, it'll show me which of the people I'm following, like what rooms they're in. And it's usually going to be something entrepreneurial, something about YouTube education, whatever it might be. So, but like, let's say if I was on there for drama or for whatever it might be, because there's rooms for everything in there. So it just depends on who you follow. It can help the experience. But for me, for YouTube education and for networking, it's actually been excellent.
Yeah, I've actually seen when you've participated in Clubhouse and in Spaces, it's typically from a creator standpoint, like kind of like helping out other people, like talking about how you manage your channel and stuff like that. I've never actually listened, but that was a topic that was listed.
Yeah.
So pardon me, I've never actually. I don't know. I'm just having trouble getting on board with the whole. I mean, you would think, like me as a podcaster in an audio medium, like Clubhouse would be like right up my alley. But at the same time, like I have trouble. Maybe it's because I'm so scripted. Maybe it's because it's because I don't have a script for Clubhouse. But anyway, well, I'll see if I can bounce in there sometime. Next time you're in there chatting with Renee or Viper or any of those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're all awesome and they're all friends of the show. So except Viper. Viper hasn't been on the show yet. We need to get him on here.
Oh yeah, just give him a buzz. He's always up for a conversation.
So. And he's a Chicago boy too, so we can relate on that level. Well, anyway, El Jefe, thank you for coming on and for chatting about audio and about YouTube content creation and about just being awesome in general. And it was awesome to have you on, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
No, absolutely, man. I appreciate being on. It was my honor. And yeah, anytime, man, whenever you want to have a convo or just, kick back and chill, man, just let me know. I'm always up for it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And scene.